Hello everybody, Average Gamer. Welcome to a little video here. I want to talk about things that I can see that need to be done to improve Superpower 3, to bring it up to its potential. The potential that I can see that is the greatness that could be Superpower 3. And I want to talk about today about just the usual things. Some quality of life changes. We're not going to go so much into bugs, because they know there's issues with bugs. I mean, my usual thing here is, obviously, the big bug, in my opinion, is the sliders. Well, let's actually go to something better. Sliders, they need to be fixed. Right now, they are way too slow. The other bug that needs to be fixed, for example, if you go into your, we'll just say our civilian research, look at our budget. It says 123.7. Okay, well, let's bring that down to 0. Still 123.7. If you go from sectors and you click out, then click your budget, still 123.7. %, 123.8. Right now, the missing textures, obviously. The taxes here almost have a 50% rate of just not showing up. 123.8, there we go. It's best to show with plants. So we're going to say 5% for plants. 125.3. That go up? Okay. Come over here and say 80%. There we go. 2%. Should go back. There we go. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it's laggy, sometimes it's like a couple days. You'll also notice too up here, sometimes the game will lag out and we'll get all of a sudden a jump of 3 or 4 days. Since I can't control how fast the game is, I can't get back those 3 days. Yeah, so once again, the overall of the taxes, like I said, there's a 50-50 chance they're going to reflect on your budget. I also noticed that the income over here sometimes doesn't quite work. And there's no way of checking how valid it is. The reason is because $16.9 billion in trade. Okay. I'm assuming that's if everything's private. If you watch, once we turn things private... Oh, no. And see the lagginess in the clicks? Or sometimes it's a double click. We're going to privatize that. We're going to privatize that. It's $2.7 billion. That's private. Perfect. I think electricity is going to probably be public. Yeah, there's no way also to figure out which ones are public, which ones are private, which kind of sucks. I would love if there was an option here where if you could just click it, it would just highlight. It doesn't have to actually change anything. It just needs to highlight, maybe in blue, which options you select. Like even have it here, just say public, private. You click public, and it will show all in blue what's public. Or even just have the icons showing as blue, or... Now let's go with yellow. Blue or yellow? Blue for public, yellow for private. Or even, let's do yellow for private and blue for public. That way we'll be able to see which ones are which. You can hover over it and it'll say legal, private, 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 private. Here we go. But why do I need to hover over all of these, right? Private. Private, public, let's change that to go. That delay is annoying. Private, 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 private. Now I go to my budget, 16.3 billion. I don't know what that is. Now it's at 16.2. Cool. I don't know. It just says trade income can be a combination of trade sector taxes for private economic sectors and direct sales of public nationalized sectors. Cool. When you hover over, like, I wish you could hover over it and it would give you a cash value. But right now it's 16.2 billion. Everything's private. Cool. So now what we'll do, we'll pause. We're going to watch this number. Now, this is the part where I mentioned there's some extra little buggies here. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 5%. 50%. The missing textures is one of the other reasons why I'm showing this. It's because every now and then you have a 50-50 chance right now of textures missing. I also want to say one thing that I didn't think would be a thing is being able to make wood illegal. Being able to do a global tax would be nice, but we'll get into that. And I'm doing this to make a point. 16.2 billion. Remember, it said it was also including taxes. This number hasn't gone up. This number hasn't gone up. That number and that number hasn't gone up. We unpause. I'm taxing everything at 15% or 50%. This number should be, there we go. So it takes in-game 5 or 6 days for us to get a update into things. It should be immediate. But it's behind. It's laggy. In my opinion, it needs to be snappy. I need to see immediate. We'll get into the quality of life things, but these are just little bugs that they're annoying because you don't know what if what you did made you money or not. You have to sit there and wait. Because the game is only running on one time speed, it could be one of these things where it kicks in every 7 days. It calculates your taxes every 7. I don't know. Being the fact that there's no tutorial, which I'll get into later, I don't know if it's calculated every 7 days, if it's not calculated every 7 days, what's going on. Also, if you keep an eye on the clock here, it just skipped 2 days. For no reason. We're not doing anything. It just skipped 2 days again. Why? I don't know. It was the same time frame between the first day and the second day. It just decided to skip some days. So that bug needs to be fixed. Oh, let's see what else. There's exploits. Obviously, the exploits can be fixed. Those are exploits. Not too concerned. I honestly haven't seen really any of these being weirded out. Yeah, those are the bugs in my opinion. Wow, population just skyrocketed. In my opinion, are the ones that I've noticed. That's the first thing. Now, I also want to mention military units. If you're buying military units from one country to another, they move from A to B, and they turn green in the midst of travel. Once they get to the country of destination that purchased them, they turn gray if you sold them, or blue if you bought them. Now, I've noticed for every 8 units you buy, one of them, I mentioned this is the second time I've recorded this, so I may have said this already, I don't know. Basically, for every unit you buy, there is a chance that unit will just randomly stop. It will show as green on your screen. You won't be able to select it. You won't be able to do anything with it, and it's just stuck on the map. Now, there's 2 issues with this. Number 1, if it happens in the water, that unit is lost forever. Doesn't matter what it is, it's lost forever. There's another bug I'm going to mention right now. As Canada, if you build a warship, it spawns in Lake Ontario, and you can't get it out of the Great Lakes. That's it. You cannot deploy a warship as Canada. You cannot build them. You can buy them, and they'll come over. And they'll come to roughly Halifax, and they'll become your possession. But if you build one, it shows up in Lake Ontario, and you're done. Like, the ship can't do anything. It can't leave at all. You have the treaties with the U.S. in regards to unit crossing, but they just don't want a path up the St. Lawrence. So that, in my opinion, that needs to be fixed. That little delay there as well. All the American units are showing up until I completely do a complete circle. That's a thing. Number 2, if I move the world around, the units sit there and jitter and float for a split second. Personally, I think that needs to be fixed. Just the way the units sit on the map and how they seem to kind of be on like a layer of ice almost, where they seem to slide on the map when you move it around. So when you buy a unit, basically 1 out of every 8 will randomly stop somewhere. You have to save, exit, reload. You can't save and reload. You have to save, exit your game, go to the main menu, and reload. And what would have happened is, for some reason, that unit gets just automatically transferred to you. If it crosses, I don't know what it was. I had 1 unit over here, 1 here, and then 1 down here. And they all randomly transferred into my possession mid-transport. The ones over here, I was able to just highlight them and click and drag them over, and they came to Canada. The unit down here was just stuck. It was an infantry unit. It was dismounted. It wasn't even in a boat. It was just standing there, and it was done. I had 15,000 infantry stuck down here, and there's nothing I could do. So there's that. There's also an issue where if you buy units from a country, whether it's country of origin, and I've noticed that it's the countries on the way. As the units are being transferred to your possession, they're causing military contested zones a lot. Not on every spot they go through, but in a lot. I bought a bunch of units from Kazakhstan, and basically all across southern Russia down here, through Georgia, Turkey, Armenia, Greece, Ukraine, Romania, Bulgaria. I want to say there was an issue over here in Bosnia, but it wasn't every single spot. But it was so often that when you would go to this screen, and I'm going to just pause. This was just full of contested regions, and it would show the region contested, but then it would show nobody on this side, and they would not go away. The contested region screen for me was bugged out to the point where I couldn't do anything even if I wanted to, because it was just full. Then there was like 60. You would scroll for like a good minute, and every single time a unit crossed a spot, it would cause a military contested zone, kind of like how these are, contested region, and that was it. There was just basically that little red icon that shows up was just all the way across. There was like 40 or 50 of them. It was ridiculous. And that basically broke the game. I had to completely close it out. I had to save it, reload it, and they were then gone at that point. But the contested system was completely borked for me at that point. Yes, there's the deployment. There's that thing with the units. And yeah, as I said, if the unit ends up being in the ocean, the unit's lost. Even if it's a naval unit, for some reason, they get locked in the water, and that's it. So there's that. Number 2, you'll notice I do not have the United States selected, and all their airports are showing up. Yeah. That does not need to happen. The country that you previously selected, I don't need to see all their airports anymore. Like, this should no longer be there. But it is. Select Russia. See all its airports, no big deal. Let's select Canada and continue. Okay, now. Yeah, so they're all still there now. That needs to be fixed. There's the bug there. I don't know if this is a bug or not, or if I just don't understand how the mechanic works, but unit border crossings and two-way treaties. You can only cancel your side of a treaty. So, for example, if I wanted to move troops into Greenland and to maybe cause a contested region with Denmark, I can go into the thing here. We're going to minimize that. That I love, by the way. That feature I love. We're going to select Denmark. We're going to come down here. We're going to say, hey, unit border treaty. I want to forbid the right to military trespassing. Boom, done, gone. So apparently, Denmark is still, like, it's okay. So now, let's actually look at, so we have an embassy and unit border crossing. So right now, if I look at this, Denmark's units are allowed on my territory. Even though I just said, hey, let's cancel this treaty altogether. So now I'm going to pick Canadian troops. We'll take 5,000 of them. We're going to move them into Denmark. I would like to speed this up. This isn't going to work. So I don't like the fact that the way the treaty system works, the bug there, I should say, that should be gone both ways. Boom. I'm removing the unit border crossing treaty, and there we go. I'm going to assume I'm going to get a contested region now. I've noticed that some of the bugs I get after I've played the game 3 or 4 times, like loaded, walked away, and then play, save, leave, or whatever. Some of the bugs have fixed themselves, which is weird. And I have the sneaking suspicion that this may have fixed itself, which is just weird. Because even Greenland was showing up as red there, which is just weird. What else? Yeah, so those are the bugs that I picked up. To me, kind of annoying. This as well. The fact that I can't, I'm going to assume it's a bug that I can't click on these and have it go in the direction I want it to. I'm assuming. So like I can see it. Then why can't I, do anything about it? Why all of a sudden can I see American units? That's weird. Why all of a sudden can I see American units? I never clicked on their country. That's weird. Anyways, so that's bugs I've seen. And there's like little graphical bugs here and there. Like these are now officially showing up as, regions are being annexed. So those are the things I've seen. Now, let's talk about some quality of life changes and some things I would like to see change. We're going to go from left to right. Number 1, the first thing I want to see is the ability to change my aspect ratio. I can change my resolution scale, which basically just increases or decreases the graphical resolution of the Earth. Doesn't really do anything. But I want to be able to change you know, 1080 by, 1080 by, whatever. I want to be able to do it, set up my graphics into 4K. I want to be able to change my actual game resolution. Okay, you gotta close everything out and go to the main menu. Number 2, I want more times. Like, 1 game speed sucks. I am not a fan. I do not like it. I think it needs to be changed. I think it needs to go. There's that. Now we're going to get into things like demographics. Number 1, I can make social groups illegal or legal. Why can't I do it with religion? Or languages? Why is it only ethnic groups I can make or legal or illegal? If you're going to let me do it with ethnic groups, let me do it with religion, let me do it with language, and let me do it, well, you already let me do it with ethnicity. Let me do it with those things. What else? Okay, I think that's this. Arrows on the screen specifically. I want to see red arrows or green arrows. I want to see, over time, a red arrow or a green arrow if my birth rate's going up or down, death rate's going up or down, overall growth rate, population, human development. These percentages, changes here, I want to see a little red or green arrow. I want feedback. I want to be told that something's going up or something's going down. That's it. Like here as well. Up or down. Is it going up or down? Cultures. Same thing. I would like to be able to switch here between religion, ethnicity, all these things so I can see my actual demographics. I also would like to see here a sliding budget section that you get for this. This changes the budget for your environment, like directly from this screen. Why don't we get a propaganda slider here? Like, why don't those sliders anywhere else in the game? The option for the internet. Why is the oh my god, the infrastructure, the telecommunications slider? Why is it not here? It should be here. Up and down arrows, green, red, and little tiny little green and red little things saying, "Hey, this is going up, this is going down." Little quality of life things. I also want to have the game let me make multiple changes, and then ask me to confirm when I do a change. So if I do this, I want it to say, "Hey, cool. You've now closed." If you close the internet, it's going to do the following thing. And then have a little check mark that you can say to never show it to you again. Instead of just having to hover over it and say, "This is a kill switch for the internet in country," shutting down the internet all of a sudden, especially for wealthy and or educated countries, can have drastic consequences. What are those consequences? Is it my approval rating? Is it my stability? Is it going to have issues with my culture? What is it? I would like to know. Like, you do this, and my stability doesn't go down. Or it doesn't go... It's my stability... Wait, did my stability go up? No, yeah. 82 and 68. Nothing's happening. So I would like to actually say, "Hey, if you do this, this, and this is going to happen." I think that'd be fair. Yeah, so I have the propaganda tab here. The ability to make, like I said, those illegal. When we come over here, when it comes to the national screen, tell me what the percentages are of these parties. So say, for example, the Conservative Party is like, 40 some odd percent, 41%. And, we're 52%. I'm going to know that if I make this party legal, I'm going to piss off a lot of people. But if I made the Bloc, the Green, or the NDP legal, I might only piss off 2% of my population, 3% of my population. Why not also be able to open it up to another party? Like, have an option where you can just hit create party, hit random, and it creates a party for it'll create a random political party for the next election. Because maybe you're going to win the election, but you're like, okay, I need to probably kind of, water down the competition, so to speak, and force a spread of votes. So you can say, hey, I want to allow another environmental party to show up. So now the Green Party and this other party have to split votes. Same with the Bloc Québécois. Be like, hey, I want another federal francophone party to show up. Boom, there you go. I want more laws to make illegal and legal. 6 is not enough, in my opinion. I want the ability also, instead of being able to enable or disable elections, I also want to be able to rig an election. I want to have the ability to see speeches, to select my actual things of what I want to do. Be like, hey, I'm going to reduce taxes to a certain percentage. Basically, lay out what I'm going to do, and then have the game be like, hey, these are the promises you made. You said you would make these promises, so you have this much time to institute your promises. Like, I think in the States, usually they prefer, like, there's the first 100 days thing. In my first 100 days of office, I'm going to do A, B, C, D, and E. Have it so that, hey, you said you're going to do all these in the first month. You're going to do all these in the second month. You're going to do all these by your first term. And basically, if you don't do certain things by certain timeframes that you promised, your stability takes a hit. Your approval takes a hit. In the process, though, have it so that you select certain options and we actually get to see our character do a speech. Even if it's just, we just see our character kind of stand there and, like, even from behind, or we don't actually get to see their mouth because, like, even like there's a microphone in the way, because obviously with so many people making so many characters, the mouth won't work. But still, what's the point of me spending 20, 30, 40 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 minute making a character if I only see it in this little window when it's working? Sometimes it bugs out and you don't see it. Number 2, I want to see laws and additional things that affect these affinities. Real place laws. I want to see things about self-driving cars, gun ownership, all sorts of stuff that will affect things. Blah, 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 blah. They should be saying dictatorship right now, but it's not. Anyways, yeah, I want to see maybe I have to hey, we're up over 42%. There, dictatorship. Let's enable elections. We're a multi-party democracy, even though everyone's illegal. Screw it. But yeah, I want to see the ability to maybe move my capital. But yeah, more laws, maybe be able to create more political parties, make my own political party, and maybe have a scenario where I'm not the one in charge. I have to basically woo the people and get elected and do all the things I said I would. International laws or international treaties. People have told me that this is more in-depth behind the scenes. I don't think it is. I basically have all these different treaties I can make. Cool. But in the end, there's really nothing crazy. For example, I can say, hey, you want to have an alliance Afghanistan? Like, that's it. I would love to see the ability to tack on riders to a treaty with another country, saying, hey, here's the deal. Afghanistan, you're going to be a part of this alliance, and then have a massive group alliance like you were able to do, in Superpower 2, but then tack on conditions like you have to be a multi-party democracy or you will be suspended. The majority of people in the treaty, or even the larger overall everybody, has to vote you in or allow you to join if you ask to be joined. The way treaties worked in Superpower 2, in my opinion, were amazing. There were huge multilateral treaties. And there was little things you could tack on about, hey, you can only be allowed in this, like, you could put on conditions, and I loved it. Here, it just feels like it's like, hey, Afghanistan, you want an alliance? That's it. I think I want that complexity. I feel like right now it's just simple click and offer. If they say no, click and offer, maybe give them some money. I feel like the older system is way better, and I honestly think they need to somehow integrate the older system with the new system. So be like, hey, an alliance, and then here have, like, for example, if you're doing, I think it's unit crossing, yeah, you can hit here to reverse it. Well, what about if it was like, hey, instead of being able to reverse it here and here, have it so that we can click it and put in restrictions, add additional countries in. That would be amazing. That would be awesome. Have more options as well. Right now, I want to say there was like, I think 5 or 6 more treaties. There was also organizations that you could join. Like you could join OPEC, the UN, NATO. Trying to remember what there was one in South America, and you can make your own. I love those. As Canada, I always thought it was hilarious that I would get it so that Canada was producing the most oil in the world, and I would never be allowed to join OPEC because the majority of people just did not let me vote in or wouldn't let me in, which was interesting. So there's that. We're gonna come into the budgetary and the sectors here. I like this as an initial screen. What I would like to see is a little bit more color. What I mean is, right now, if you hover over it, it will tell you if it's legal or illegal, and if it's private or public. I would love to just have it color-coded. So I can look and see what's color-coded, and there we go. I also wish, instead of just telling me what the surplus/deficit is, and what we're producing and what we're trading, I want to know the actual cash value of what's going on. I actually want to know, am I making money? Am I making money? Okay, how much? I also would love to see little, I've said this again, little green or little red arrows telling me if things are going up or things are going down. If I hover over the industrial, civilian industrial stuff here, I want to know, we're producing 494 billion. Is it tons? Is it dollars? I would like to know if it's dollars or if it's tons. I can click on it. So this tells me we're producing this much per hour. Okay, but then up here it tells me it's tons. So it's like, oh, okay. We're producing 12 tons of civilian goods. But if we're, like, I don't know if this is all countries on Earth. So is it 12 trillion? If it's $12 trillion, like, I would prefer to have multiple pieces of information on this screen. Like, I want to know what the actual amount is that I'm producing, the value of what I'm producing, and then how much money I am making or losing. How much money is it costing me to produce? How much is it like here it's apparently taking 0 land, but I'm producing 125.8 thousand an hour. So I'm consuming 74.6 billion industrial civilian goods. Like, I would prefer more feedback. Like, I would like to know the exact, like, how much tonnage, how much money that's making me, how much am I money am I making in trade? How much money am I making? How much money am I making, locally, like selling people, like, building buildings in Canada, versus how much money I'm making via taxes. Even if it's private, I still want to be able to see who I'm trading with. I want to see the trades, which means I need to change something also to public for a second. I want to be able to change this. So yeah, I can look for like China. So China, boom, there we go, okay? But what I would like to see is an import or export filter. Because I don't want to have to go through 26 pages. Oh my god. This is the other bug I wanted to mention I forgot about. You have to wait 5 seconds, 6 seconds there, just to go to the next page. 1, 2, yeah. A couple seconds. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. It should just be like that, but it's not. There's like a 2 or 3 there's a 2-second lag behind each one, and I have to go all the way to page 26 to look for something and go over because I'm looking for if I'm importing or exporting, because there's no filter and I want to cancel all my imports because I have a surplus, I'm assuming, in this case of industrial goods. I will have to go through 2 times 26. That's what, 6, 12, 4, 50, almost a minute of me sitting here waiting a couple, well, no, actually that's wrong. It's 2 seconds times 26. Let's do 2 times 26. 52 seconds. A minute. I have to wait almost an entire minute of time clicking just one little button. Make it easier for me. Put an import or export option. Also have the ability to cancel all imports, cancel all exports from the resource itself, not from a country, from a resource. Number 2. Actually, this will help here. If I want to do a new trade and I click on this, I want to know what country I have a trade embargo on in this screen, or vice versa. So right now it's like, hey, you have Andorra selected. Cool. Let's trade them 23 billion. Yeah, they're going to say no. Let's see, who has a deficit? Here we go. Myanmar. They're missing $2 billion of civilian industrial goods. We have 453.1 billion. Here, take the 2.2 that, you know what? Let's give you, hold on. They need 2 billion, so we're going to say 2 billion. That's million, thousand, hundred. 2 billion. Well, they're short now 2 million. So you know what? We're going to offer them $2.3 billion worth of industrial civilian goods. They're going to have an access after the fact of 43 million goods. There should be no reason why they're going to approve, why they would say no to this, because they can also sell, right, the missing, the surplus. So we're going to propose. Oh wait, active embargo. Okay, cool, no big deal. Let's go to let's go all the way to Myanmar. Cool. Okay, let's go into the politics stuff. International. We'll go back here. Oh, that. They have an embargo on me. Or no, sorry. This tells me they're saying I can give them their goods. Cool. I'm going to go modify the exchange treaty. Unit crossing embargo only. Here it's saying, hey, everything's fine. And it's a commercial embargo. I have no one on my list for a commercial embargo. Okay. So my thought is, if the arrow's pointing at me, this is embargo, but this is exchange of goods. There's an arrow pointing at me. The arrow pointing at me tells me I can change goods. This says over here, it's fine. So this is the part right here where I don't understand. Like, to me, the feedback doesn't feel right. Like, the arrow is pointing at me, meaning they can give me stuff. But there's no arrow pointing at them, which means I can't give them stuff. But then my only option is to embargo. There's no actual ability to actually trade with them. It says I can trade with them. Best example, let's pick the US. There's arrows facing exchange of goods. Embargo, okay. So if there's no arrows, we can exchange goods. If there are arrows, we can exchange goods. So what I want then is a filter on these options here, telling me when I select this, who I can and cannot trade with. So with Myanmar, have a red box around them, maybe with a line. And then when I hover over it, say Burma, not Myanmar, Burma, and it has a trade embargo on us. So if I select it over here, right, and it says, hey, you have a trade embargo, I scroll over to them over here and select this. It should tell me over here somewhere that they have a trade embargo on me. But it doesn't. I think there needs to be better feedback on this screen, to be honest. I think that's one thing that needs to be done. I honestly think you need that option when looking for these. It needs to tell you that there is a embargo one way or the other or both ways. Yeah. Number two, I need to see what my investment is going to do. I need to know what my investment is going to do. So if I go here and say, I will offer you, we have 7 trillion funds available. We're going to put in 1 billion. I hit confirm. Before it pops in there, when I hit confirm, it should say, hey, by giving the industrial military complex $1 billion, it's going to cause employment to go down to whatever percent. What we are producing per hour will go up to this percent over this period of time. The country will be consuming this much, we'll be producing this much, so our balance will also be this much. So when I hit confirm, show me the information. Or even when I type in the number, give me some sort of feedback. Like all of a sudden show in green and show an arrow, and if I hover over the arrow, it'll say, hey, this number is going to go up by 2,000. This number overall will be going up by 1.4 billion. This will be going up by 2.2 billion. Trading will go down by whatever. I want to know what is going to happen when I do things. This is one of the biggest complaints I have about Power and Revolution, is that the system is amazing. The game is amazing, but I don't know what I'm doing. Which also brings me back to the next thing that I want to mention. There needs to be a tutorial. There is no tutorial in the game. You're basically just given the game and it's like, hey, there you go. I think that needs to change. I want to say that's mostly my issues with sectors. Now, when it comes to this page right here, I honestly think this needs to be completely changed. I think this needs to be broken down to actually give me, if I click it, give me all the sectors and how much money I'm making. Foreign aid, if I click it, have it come down into another tab, like have another tab, and give me the countries and give me their numbers. Because right now it says I'm giving $3.1 billion in foreign aid, but then foreign aid is not showing up over here. I should know what countries I'm giving foreign aid to. So I always put that to 0 because I never give it an answer. Oh, come on. I also want to be able to adjust taxes for different things. I want to be able to specifically change VAT taxes. I want to specifically put in a tax on guns. I want to be able to put in a fee for driver's licenses, license plates, permits, different levels of taxes for different levels of people. Medium income, low income, high income. I want to be able to change it. I want to be able to specifically put in taxes if you make over a certain dollar value, taxes on specific purchases. Like here in Canada, if you buy a car over $1,000, you have to pay an extra luxury tax on a luxury vehicle. It's either 10% of the overall car value or 20% of the amount above $100K that you buy, whichever is bigger. So 10% of the total value or 20% of the amount above 100,000, whichever is smaller. In my opinion, we should be able to put taxes like that in here, and I should be able to do a whole bunch of different taxes on this side. The expenses over here are okay. I would love... I'm going to assume this is just embassies around the world. I would love it if there was an option here for me to reduce or increase the amount I'm spending on embassies overall. Trade, cool, 5.9 billion. But right now it says I'm making 15.9 billion from public sector. Did I make anything public? You're public, okay. Private. Private. There we go. I'm assuming I need to unpause that. It went down a billion. Went down to 14, but it was 15 before. Private. God, that color thing would be so much easier right now. I can just give it a quick look. Private. Okay. Okay. Keep getting space. That's a bug. Yeah. So this shows properly. It's laggy. 50-50 chance it even shows up. But yeah. So I want more options. I want more taxable options. Be able to figure what's going on with trade, click foreign aid, get all that information, get everything broken down so I can make cuts where I want to. Like if I don't want to have foreign aid to a specific country, but at the same time, but I'm trying to be kind of sneaky about it, I should be able to, kind of like how you can with trade if I pick China, go over here and be like, hey, you're not getting any of my education. Like, hey, why am I giving you education? I don't want. So I should be able to come over here and be foreign aid and be like, oh, no. And be able to maybe do a lockout, maybe even have like a key, like a lock or unlock, and I get to pick countries where if I lock it, and I can put I can put in the number and lock it. So if I said, hey, China, yeah, I know you're apparently still a developing country, and I'm giving you foreign aid because you're a developing country. I don't think so. Click foreign aid option, click the foreign aid button, see China, highlight it, hit 0 for $0, and lock it. So here, I'm kind of being sneaky, kind of covert, and being like, oh yeah, I'm putting money into the IMF, but I'm also making sure that China's not getting into my IMF money. So there's that. Like I said, I would love to see this a little bit more flushed out. I know this is just more of a summary of this, but I wouldn't mind seeing more stuff here. The military stuff. Oh, this brings back more bugs, actually. I wanted to mention as well, I haven't fought that many wars. The war zone system is just completely broken. Units don't engage. When units are supposed to engage, like aircraft, they just sit there. They're all broken. Yeah. Units in general, yeah, aircraft don't engage properly. Warships don't do the things they're supposed to. Yeah, I'm sorry, but yeah, the war system, the war zone system, it's just completely broken. Like I said, units don't properly do what they're supposed to. Sometimes there's just a massive lag in what they do. Yeah, overall, the Warzone system needs either an overhaul or a fix in some form or fashion. Because right now, units, they just don't seem to, like, process properly. And, yeah. So that was another bug I forgot about. Yeah. So, to the military stuff, where personally I think this game completely falls short. Completely falls short. So, excluding the fact that the Warzone system is completely messed up and broken and needs to be reworked. Units, like I said, don't engage. They don't behave like they're supposed to. Aircraft will, like, fly in, fire a missile, I guess, is what it's supposed to be. Then they'll loop, and then they'll just sit and stop. And the infantry unit will just sit there shooting at them. And it will shoot the aircraft down. It's like, okay. So the unit just will... Okay. Or the two units will sit in front of each other, just beating the crap out of one another. And it's like, it's an infantry unit and a tank. Or it's a mobile launcher and a tank, or, a mobile launcher and a person. And basically they just stand there and they're just shooting. And you can tell they're really not doing anything, but the counter up above is like saying, just to me, it's like, it's the old system. You get that little map with all the different units on either side, and the units would just be sitting there shooting at each other, and above would give you the numbers to the countdown. I think it's the exact same system. It's just been turned into a 3D map, where you put your units in, and basically it counts as, and basically it just puts in attrition. And it just calculates the rate of attrition based on how many more units one side has than the other, and then just tick, 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 tick. I just noticed that it is like, I've noticed things where it's like, why am I losing tanks when my tanks are not being engaged? They have mobile launchers and they're not doing anything. Like, both sides were sitting on either end of the map. Well, actually, they were kind of sitting in the corners. They weren't engaging each other, but the counter was going. And I'm like, I'm losing infantry, but my infantry aren't doing anything. I'm losing tanks, they're not doing any mobile launch. Yeah. Yeah. So there's that. Now there's this. First off, where are my armored personnel carriers and infantry fighting vehicles? Where are my anti-aircraft units? Where is my artillery? Where are my cruisers? So I'm assuming the Kirov class battle cruiser is not in the game because it's not a destroyer, it's not an aircraft carrier, it's not a frigate. The American, I guess you can call, the Ticonderoga is, I guess, technically a cruiser. It's an Aegis cruiser. But in the game, it's a destroyer. Now, I do know destroyer and cruiser, kind of in the 80s, kind of got muddled a little bit. But, like an Aegis cruiser is an Aegis cruiser. A Type 44 frigate is a Type 44 frigate. An Arleigh Burke destroyer is a destroyer. Come on, give us our patrol. Give us our smaller patrol craft. Give us our cruisers. Aircraft carriers are fine. Attack and ballistic submarines, cool. Attack aircraft, fine. Where are my drones? Why don't I have drones? Why don't I have air superiority aircraft? Like, have it so that it's air superiority aircraft, attack aircraft, and then bomber aircraft. Because right now, things like A-10 Warthogs, the close air support aircraft, is a bomber in this game. Yes, you heard me right. The A-10 Warthog is a strategic bomber in this game. Now, I understand things like utility helicopters and transport helicopters don't need to be in this game. They shouldn't really have been in Superpower 2. There was no reason for them. So, Don't worry about transport aircraft, helicopters, like the Black Hawk. Black Hawk should not really... If I'm not telling units to get into anything to be moved across the map, transport vehicles do not need to be in the game. Things like infantry fighting vehicles and armored personnel carriers, since they do have weapons on them, can be used. Now, you can have utility helicopter, have it so that it has some sort of like thing where it makes your units a little bit more efficient or something. I don't know. Like UH-60s, I mean, theoretically, if you slapped a bunch of rockets on it, or miniguns, then technically it's a close air support helicopter. So maybe you can do support helicopters and then attack helicopters. So have attack helicopters, obviously, with, anti-tank rockets and a gun. Where if you do support helicopters, it has because supply's not a thing in this game. So have it as a primary gun, be it like a machine gun, or even have it as a light helicopter. A light helicopter, a medium helicopter, and a heavy helicopter. Just those three. And then you can decide if they have weapons or what they do and all those things. Because really, helicopters really don't, have anything. Anti-submarine warfare is something that I found in this game is ridiculous. Depending on the situation, you may not have the ability. Like submarine, you'll notice, is its own thing. Aircraft. So why... Okay, so you can take out subs. Cool. Tanks can take out subs. Mobile launchers can only engage ground targets. They cannot engage sea targets. Frigates. Submarine. Cool. Destroyers, which are battleships apparently with this image, can take out subs. Subs can take out subs. Ballistic subs can take out subs. That's it. If you're in a situation where you don't have either a sub or a frigate being able to go into a location, you're never going to be able to destroy a target. There's no actual specific units that say anti-submarine warfare. Anti-ASW helicopter. They're not in the game. I know a few people that have had issues where I believe it's Kazakhstan, and even Kazakhstan has produced an attack sub, put it in the Caspian Sea. Someone's going to war with them. Were a landlocked country, got troops through Russia because they were having treaties with Russia, got to Kazakhstan. Actually, I think they may have been Uzbekistan. I can't remember what they were, but they took out Kazakhstan. But they're going to, but because Kazakhstan had a submarine in the Caspian Sea, they were and the fact that they had zero access to the Caspian, all they could do was annex the territories. And then they had to build a unit to go into the Caspian to then sink the other unit. Like, this is stupid. Like, we need anti-submarine units. We need armored personnel carriers. We need artillery. We need anti-aircraft units. We need patrol vehicles. We need patrol aircraft. Because they'll give us hopefully better line of sight on the enemy, things like that. I feel like the military portion of this game is severely neutered, and it really needs work. When it comes to production, we need to be able to build more than one unit at a time. As Canada, I want to be able to say I want 10,000 infantry, I want 25 tanks, I want 10 infantry fighting vehicles, 5 pieces of artillery, 2 things of AA, 4 F-18s, and a Halifax-class destroyer. Now, the Halifax-class destroyer, which I already mentioned, will spawn in Lake Ontario, and I'll never be able to use it. But I want to be able to build multiple units. I also want to decide, personally, where my units are deployed. I would love to be like, hey, just like in Oh, was it Superpower 1? Where you actually had military bases? I think it was. And actually say, hey, it doesn't even need to basically have it so that you have, you can put a base anywhere. Like if I can, as Canada, I select Alberta, I right click, and here instead of resources, have another one that says military base. Then you just select a city, and that's your spawn point in this province. So I say Calgary. So from now on, okay, there's Calgary down there. I had a moment where I'm like, Edmonton seems a little further south than I thought it was. For some reason, Edmonton was a little further north. But you should be able to select spawn points. So then when you build your units and they show up here, you should be able to hit the deploy button, and it should tell you, hey, where do you want these units to deploy? Hey, do you want them to deploy to Calgary, Vancouver? Even if it just automatically defaulted to just give you a list of cities. I know for larger countries that's a problem, so that you should be able to basically be like, hey, it automatically selects per region one city. And you should be able to select which ones. So down here, it should be airports, seaports, and bases. What else? Honestly, this... I don't know whether this is really important or not. Like, whether it shows you your relative power and your allies. So everyone together has 5 million troops, I'm assuming, 11,000 aircraft, 363 warships, and 221 nuclear weapons, while our enemy has nothing. Cool, no big deal. But that's not important. This number also, I notice, it's telling me I have 0 tanks, 0 ships, and 0 aircraft. If you highlight, that number updates. Weird. And now it's gone. Notice how it was there the entire time? Now there we go. See, now it's back. But now notice how it's all updated now. Yeah, so there's that. I honestly think even the Secret Service, change the name, please. Wow, I'm blurry. I got blurry there for a second. It's not the Secret Service. It is the Special Forces. Change it to the Special Forces. Just change the name. Special Forces. And even if it's like espionage, blah, 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 I would like maybe a couple extra missions. Like get coup d'etat, terrorism, assassination, training. I don't know, to be honest with you. I feel like there should be more here. One should be maybe groundwork for invasion. Maybe one should be, disrupt internet. One should be maybe sabotage politics or sabotage. Oh my god, what's it called? Yeah, sabotage economic strength. Sabotage human index. Sabotage nuclear weapons. How about detonate nuclear weapon? Detonate bioweapon. Harm relations with. Be able to, like you could in Superpower 2, to frame other countries. So you do a bad job on purpose to frame another country, to harm relations. Sabotage industry, sabotage resources, military incident with, things like that. Honestly, I think those would be really good options. One thing I do admit that I think should be completely removed from the game are the flags. So here's the American capital here. This game is played top down. I'm looking down on the map. Other than it being in the peripheral edge here, even as playing as, say, for example, Europe, you barely see these. They're like little things. You can remove those altogether. They do not need to be there. I don't know why they're there in the first place. They should just be gone. As I said, there needs to be a tutorial. I really would like those up and down arrows, as I've said. I have talked now for over an hour. I'm going to let you guys go. Thanks for watching. If there's anything that I haven't mentioned that you want to see in this game, put it down in the comments below. But in the meantime, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.